Are the Wolves still alive? Is that still a team you have to consider, factor in? I know Terp's already got his flights to Dallas, so he's ruled them out. Should we be ruling out Minnesota, or is it foregone conclusion? It's Luka, it's Kyrie. It was one game they dropped last night. Maybe they drop another with Game 5 in Minnesota, but the series is over.
I think it's over. I said this yesterday. I thought that they were not going to sweep Minnesota, and I don't think Minnesota is not a worthy team. It's just so hard to come back and win 4 games in a row against a team that is even pretty good. And I think the Mavs are a good team. So I look at that, and they switched some stuff up last night. They switched up the defense on the defensive assignments on Doncic and Kyrie Irving, and it seemed to make a really big difference if you want to look on the positive for Minnesota. But even so, even with Luka almost having a dagger at the end of the game, you're still watching it going this might be the worst that Luka and Kyrie as a tandem have been this entire series, and it's still that close. And that's why I come away from it going, can this team beat the Mavs 4 games straight, 3 more games straight? I just don't see it. It's too high a mountain to climb.
Arkan?
I don't think that Kyrie and Luka are going to lose that. They're not going to lose enough for this to happen. It'd be fun to see. It's never happened in the NBA before, and we'll actually talk about this in a little bit. But I do think that when you look at that game last night, it started off okay, here comes Minnesota. They built this big first quarter lead. It seemed like they were just going to run them out of the gym, and that Dallas was going to pack it in and say, all right, we'll get them next time. And Dallas didn't go away. They took a lead in the first half, definitely in the second half. And it seemed like no matter what Minnesota did, there was a counter for it all the way into the fourth quarter until basically the very end. They had some kind of counterpunch, and I just see that, and if they had won decisively, if they really smoked them, if they really looked hey, we're back, and those first couple games were a fluke, I might think differently. But Dallas really hung around, and I think there's almost no chance that they lose 3 more.
I was going to be really annoyed if it came down to Karl Anthony Towns being sat down and the Mavs winning that way, because I just don't like it to be
That was definitely a foul. He was bitching and crying, but that was definitely a foul.
No, but it feels like an annoying way if it was a sweep, and if it was a sweep on both sides. I don't like when any team's fans get a very obvious excuse that they can point to. The refs were all over Karl Anthony Towns. Even though that wouldn't make sense with Scott Foster as the ref, and he's the extender.
And they were already down 3-0. It's okay, so the refs lost you 1 game. What about the other 3? I have no time for that. Stop fouling everybody, Karl Anthony Towns. You're in foul trouble all night. That's on you. And that was a foul. So I don't have much sympathy there. Can the Wolves make it tough on Dallas? Meaning, can they at least take another game? If we don't think they're going to take the series, can they take another game, which tuckers out Fat Luka even more? And, I just saw this in the Twitch chat. The Mavs are running on fumes more now by stretching this out.
Do you think he looked tired last night?
Luka?
At the end?
Yes.
Didn't affect his shot.
Well, it didn't affect the one shot.
Except at the line,
Yeah, it's so right.
Always looks like that.
Yeah,
I was going to say, how can you tell?
I don't know. It's just the longer.
He had triple-double. It's not like he was laboring out there.
Can Minnesota drag it out longer?
He labored his way to
Are we really debating if that's advantageous, if Minnesota drags it out more?
Of course it's advantageous.
Okay, so can Minnesota
debate it all? Of course
I'm rooting for it, absolutely.
So can they do it?
And I like Minnesota. I would like to see more of these games. No, I don't think it's going to happen.
So it's done. It's done in 5.
Cooked.
Okay.
I think it's cooked.
Well, there's your game last night. Arkan, you were comparing the numbers between Dallas, their top 2 players, meaning Doncic and Kyrie, versus the Celtics, their top 2 players, Tatum and Jaylen Brown. What was your takeaway there?
The takeaway there is that Brown and Doncic are very, very similar, very close in a lot of different aspects. Tatum, what did I say?
You said Brown. Tatum
and Luka are very close. Kyrie and Jaylen are too, but we'll start with Tatum and Doncic, who I think are more comparable, right? They're the 2 1s. Kyrie and Jaylen are the 2 2s. I think we sort of all look at it that way, no matter what you may think. And Doncic has him by a couple of points per game, assists per game he has. But when it comes to shooting, Tatum's better on the floor. Doncic's slightly better from 3, and Tatum's better with free throws. The big difference is plus minus. Jason Tatum is a plus 141, and Doncic is just a plus 68, which I saw that.
His team's better.
And I looked at, but, Jaylen Brown's a plus 74, and Kyrie's a plus 104. So team better or not, that sort of stuck out to me and had me thinking, okay.
Doesn't that have to do with their roles as basically the offense running through them?
Yeah, but the offense runs through Luka, too, I think. I consider that to be the same sort of thing. And I know they're not point guards. You could say Doncic and Kyrie are both point guards who have the ball in their hands, as opposed to Tatum and Jaylen Brown, who aren't so much. But still, plus 141. I mean, that really, I think, speaks to the effect that they have when they're on the floor as opposed to when they're not. I just think that that's a substantial difference. And with Kyrie and Brown, it's sort of inverted. There's a couple other differences, really, like Kyrie's a much better free throw shooter, but I thought the plus-minus thing really stood out to me just in terms of what they're like when that guy's on the floor as opposed to off.
Let me ask you, draft the top 4 in the series. Tatum, Brown, Luka, Kyrie. Draft them.
Luka.
Yep.
Tatum.
Yep.
Kyrie, Jalen.
Okay. Mego?
I would just switch Kyrie and Jalen.
Okay, I'm with Arcand on this, but we're debating Kyrie versus Jalen Brown. Right. Jalen's a more complete player. Let's see. I'm going to give Kyrie the leg up. I've seen him perform in the postseason before. I've also seen him tap out. But I've seen him in Game 7 of an NBA Finals knock down a massive shot. And so let's see. I think they're going to abuse Kyrie defensively. And if that happens, I'll come in and I'll say I was wrong about Jalen again. But drafting it right now, I would go Luka over Tatum. I would go Kyrie over Jalen. But the Celtics should still win that series. They have more depth, more talent, and it's comparable enough at the top where you go, okay, well, Tatum's not like light years worse than Luka, and Jalen versus Kyrie is a real toss-up. You prefer Jalen to Kyrie. So in this case, I think some of the depth will take over in this series, and Kyrie defensively is a liability.
Swap Tatum and Doncic. Are both teams still where they are right now? No. No. Tatum and Kyrie, would they be in the finals?
No.
Or would they be knocking on the door in the finals?
The Celtics would be in the finals with Luka. The Mavs would not be in the finals with Tatum.
Kind of agree with you.
I don't think. You can jump in on this.
Tatum and Kyrie might be at Burning Man together.
That's true.
We've already seen that, too, by the way.